Welcome to Comfort Zone, a podcast all about pushing your hosts, outside of their comfort zone. I'm Christopher Lawley, and each week I am joined by two incredible co-hosts, and this week we are sponsored by Inoreader. As always, I am joined by Matt Birchler. Matt, how are you doing?
I'm doing great, Chris.
Good. And we are also joined by Niléane. Niléane, how are you doing?
I'm doing great for 3 reasons, which I will detail shortly.
Okay, well, I say we just get straight into the tiny topics. What do you got for us?
First reason why I'm doing well. It's been a recurring topic. There's a bug in macOS which makes it so the Messages app keeps quitting itself quietly in the background for me. And I'm not the only one. And some people are having this issue with other apps as well. It turns out that this was a known bug to Tapbots, the developers of Ivory on macOS. I've linked to a post they've made in response to somebody reporting this bug. And they said it's due to the latest macOS update, which is closing Catalyst apps in the background for some reason. We still quoting them, we still have no idea why it's happening, but hoping Apple will fix the issue. So far, there's nothing for me to be feeling well about. However, this week, as we're recording, and last week for you in the future listening to this, macOS Sequoia 15.5 came out, and I'm pretty sure the bug is gone.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
I have not seen it happen ever since I updated to this new version. So I'm feeling well about this.
Good. That's the Apple squashed the bug. That's fantastic.
And I will say that I take credit for it.
You should.
You should.
This is Comfort Zone's influence.
Yeah.
Hitting the mainstream.
I think we established last week that both Tim and Phil listen, or maybe it was Tim and Craig, but I'm assuming they heard it straight from you, and they phoned the engineers and were like, "Fix this now. This is disrupting Niléane's workflow. Unacceptable."
Exactly.
Yep. That's how that conversation went, word for word.
Are you ready for the second reason why I'm feeling well today?
I feel like
bring it on.
That is, I updated something about my desk setup, which is that I came back to the Magic Keyboard.
Oh.
Gone is the Logitech MX Keys Mini. Why? Well, it was great, but why? Because it's buggy. There was a problem with the backlight, which kept turning itself on during the night. And like sporadically with no obvious reasons. I Googled it, and some people on Reddit are saying, shake the keyboard and it goes away, which is like, okay.
I mean, did you try it?
Yes, I did.
Yes. Okay, that's what I was going to ask. I was like,
picture me just shaking the keyboard, hoping that the problem goes away. And some people, people are dead serious saying this, like, shake the keyboard, it goes away. I don't know.
Whoever started that rumor absolutely knows this isn't true and just wanted to get a bunch of people to shake their keyboards. That's absolutely what this is.
And well done, I will say to them. Anyway, I was not feeling like debugging this, so I took out the Magic Keyboard from the drawer and I'm using it again, and it's great. It's great to be back home. There you go. Third reason why I am feeling well today. As we're recording, we are on the eve of the Eurovision grand finale. Grand finale, I will say. The Eurovision Song Contest 2025 is tomorrow.
So it's a song contest. Okay, I have no idea what Eurovision is.
Yes.
And all I know is a competition, and America's not in it to win it. So,
You're not allowed, which is partly why it's great, I think.
Oh, man. This happens every year. It always sneaks up on me. I never know it's coming. But then even the most cynical Europeans I know are suddenly just overjoyed with Eurovision and they love it. It's crazy.
It is the event it's in my calendar. Later in the show, I will share screenshots as part of the challenge, and you will see on my calendar widget, it's right there, Eurovision Song Contest tomorrow, and I will be tuning in. And as you're hearing this, you already know which country won, and I'm jealous of you, people in the future. But I can't wait.
Okay. Man.
And Chris
Alrighty.
off the air was telling me he doesn't know what Eurovision is, and I will not respond to the provocation. This is your problem, not mine.
Well, I'm assuming America is barred from it, not because it's, countries in Europe, but because you all are afraid of us and we'll win it because,
I mean, Australia is in it.
Oh, what? So they're not in Europe. They're their
No.
own continent. They are the only country that is their own continent. They can have Australia vision or something. I don't know.
No
That's
one
probably
knows
like just a
why.
bunch of crocodiles trying to eat you.
Crocodiles
or
and kangaroos.
That whole continent is just like one big place of like.
Oh my God.
It's literally the Thunderdome. It's just trying to kill you.
Yeah, no one knows why they are in Eurovision, but they are, and they keep
Wow.
coming back. So
Okay.
it's
I
a
want to know
fact
everything
now.
about that.
Do they do well?
Sometimes, I think.
Okay.
But
All right.
so there's a rule where the winning country has to organize the Eurovision Song Contest the year after. And I believe there's an exception rule for them. Like if Australia ever wins, it's not going to be in Australia because time zones, it will just ruin the show for the whole of Europe.
Oh, trust me, Matt and I understand time zones. We are both big Formula One fans, and I'm getting up at 5 a.m. on Sunday. So, thanks, Europe.
You're welcome.
That's not even that bad. The Australian Grand Prix is. Oh God, that's
for you.
rough.
That one's bad. That one's I just stay up till like 10 p.m. and like whatever.
That's
but
right.
like. Yeah, it's there are some that are like at midnight. The one that always gets me is the Chinese Grand Prix because it's like at midnight or 1 a.m. or something like that my time, and that one's rough. That one is that one I usually just watch in the morning. But anyways, we have an actual show we need to get to that's not about time or time zones or countries. You guys want to get into the main topics?
Let's do it.
All right, well, I am first up in the document, and despite the fact that I teased I have the smaller iPad Pro last week, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm literally making a video on it right now, and I was like, well, everything that's in the video would just be the topic, so I'm not going to just rehash it for you all. So I'm going to talk about something else. I have been using both Todoist and BusyCal lately, and I have thoughts on them. I know, right? I have thoughts on productivity software. Who would have thunk?
Oh boy.
Impossible.
I am really liking Todoist. I haven't used Todoist in years, like probably more than 5 years, probably closer to like 6 or 7, maybe even more. But it's come a long way. Design-wise, it's still very much the same, which is kind of a little disappointing to see. I thought it would kind of come up a little more. Like the design isn't necessarily bad, but it's not amazing. It's not like Things Level or Fantastical or something like that. It's just it's fine. I will say it feels a lot more professional than Reminders. Reminders to me kind of feels like a task manager light, and it's all that SF rounded font, like the colored SF rounded font just makes it feel Fisher Price to me, and I just don't like it. Plus, like things with Reminders, like it takes a lot of tapping around or clicking around to add metadata, and don't even get me started on how Reminders handle subtasks and things like that. Like it's that whole, like if you try and use any of the power user features in Reminders, that's where you really start to feel the rough edges.
Yeah, if you love to tap, then Reminders is a great app for you. But it's frustrating because it does like natural language parsing, but only a little bit and only sometimes, and it's hard to tell.
Buggy.
Yeah.
It like there has definitely been cases, and I know Federico went on about it for a while ago. Like he was getting it really bad, but like I would get it occasionally too, where I would say like do this task at Sunday at 2 p.m. and like the natural language option would be Thursday at 8 a.m. and it's like, how do you get that? But Todoist has a lot of features that I really wanted reminders to have, and a couple of features things had, but it goes beyond that. So it has all the stuff that let me back up. It is the only task manager that has all the features. When I kind of make my wish list of task manager features, it is the only one that has everything. So first thing is it has deadline support. And from what I understand, this is fairly new. So basically what this is you can set your traditional start date for when you start working on a task. But then you can say like, hey, this task isn't due for another 3 days. So for me, a lot of video projects I don't get done in a single day. So using like the deadlines feature, I can say like, I'm going to start on this on Monday, but I'm going to finish it on Wednesday. And this is just kind of a nice way for me to be able to lay things out. Another thing is Kanban board. I love this as a part of reminders. This is how I track video projects, shorts, sponsorships. Basically, I just have different stages for everything's in, so that way I can quickly glance at it. And it's really nice to just be able to see it and see where the state of everything. And Todoist is really great about giving you a field to add a bunch of notes, so I can say like, hey, this video is sponsored by this person, here are some notes for it, or like there's link support or and best part, file support. So like I can attach if a sponsor sends me a PDF document that's like, hey, here's the talking points for the sponsor read. I can go in there and just attach that PDF to the task, and it's all right there. It's so nice. I love that about this. There's also a calendar view support, so you can see all of your tasks in daily, weekly, and monthly view, I believe. Excuse me, my voice is kind of cracking today. I don't know what's going on here.
It's because you hate Eurovision.
Sure. Take a drink here. 1 second.
I mean, you cannot
Dr.
sing,
Pepper,
so
the official sponsor. Yeah, no, I really can't sing. Yeah, sorry, my voice. Whew. But the calendar view, while it has it, it only supports Google Calendar. So I'm really glad I made that switch from iCloud Calendar to Google Calendar a month or so ago, because that has just been so much better for me, and like being able to integrate with different apps and services and the terminal, which was the whole reason why I did it. Really, really glad I made that switch. On the Mac, one thing that it has is a global task entry or quick entry feature. I mapped this to HyperKey T. Things also has this. I'm very surprised Reminders doesn't have this, but also I guess I'm not because, yeah. But this is just really nice for like when things come up. I just hit HyperKey T, type things out. Todoist has natural language support and really good natural language support. So I can just sit there, type out the task, type out when it's due, hit the pound sign, and type out what project it's under. Like very, very good support for natural language. And with the quick entry thing, I don't have to jump back to the app, which probably is in a different space than what I'm in. So like I'm not having to jump around. I just hit that HyperKey T, type it in, it does its thing, and I move on. Really nice. Now, the iOS app isn't the best. If I was still like iPad and iPhone first, I don't think I would make this jump. Because it doesn't the iOS app is kind of laid out very weirdly. Like the main page is the Today view, but then there's like different tabs at the bottom. You got to jump around to get to different stuff. It's not that bad if you're just like quickly referencing stuff, but if you live out of your task manager and like the primary way you do that is on your phone, I could see this layout kind of getting annoying. Maybe it's okay for some people, but since I'm a Mac boy now, the Mac app is really good, and it's an Electron app, but it's a very good Electron app.
A good Electron app? That's not possible.
I know. I know how much you hate Electron apps and how much you're always ranting about like I'll never install them and everything should just be native Mac apps and native APIs and rah rah rah. That's my Matt Birchler impression.
That captures my essence, I think.
Yeah, I think that is Matt Birchler. He's never talked positively about Electron apps or like any apps that can be used on multiple platforms ever.
Yeah, I hate multi-platform apps. Just
yeah. I'm gonna remember that in like the next 10 minutes, like how much you hate like different platforms and things like that, you know.
Okay.
But the one weird thing is the Mac app doesn't have any shortcuts actions. The iPhone and iPad app does, but the Mac app doesn't have any shortcut actions. So to automate anything in Todoist, I've had to use their API, which isn't the end of the world, but that makes it a lot harder for me to share shortcuts because now I have to explain to people what an API is, where to go get your API key, things like that. It makes it a lot harder to do that stuff, which basically makes it like, I'm like, well, no, I don't even know if I want to do that. I will say Federico for the club wrote an article, literally like a whole thing about like building shortcuts using the Todoist API. I want to say like a month or so ago. Maybe it was a little bit longer than that, but it's in the club. It's really good. When I switched over to Todoist, I had that bookmarked. I just glanced over it and I was like, okay, I get this. And I've been building a few shortcuts for myself. Nothing I can really share because it's like very specific to my projects. But yeah, it would be nice if the Mac version, even if it just had basic shortcuts like create task, create project, like even if it was the basic stuff, that would be nice. I don't know why they bothered to do it for iOS and the iPad, but not the Mac. Yeah, it's a little weird.
I wonder if it's a completely different app. I wonder if there's like, it's not a shared code base.
I mean, it's very clearly an Electron app on the iPad.
Okay.
Like, I don't think it's a native app or anything like that. But overall, I'm really liking Todoist. I kind of did this as an experiment, and I wasn't sure if I was going to really switch away from reminders, but it has everything I want. The Mac app is solid, other than there's no shortcut actions, but I can work around that with the API. So I think I'm sticking with Todoist. I'm really liking it. I'm really enjoying it. It's not the most expensive app in the world, but if I live out of my task manager, I'm project manage everything out of it, from videos to home improvement projects to taking out the trash to reminding me to wash the car, things like that. So yeah, I use my task manager for quite a bit. So I've been really happy with it. Have either of you used Todoist lately?
I have. And I went back to things. So
Okay.
My question to you was actually going to be, let's do some predictions.
Ooh, okay.
Our last episode of 2025, whatever date that is, the week before Christmas or something, will you still be using Todoist, or will you be using a different task manager, do you think?
Definitely not. Yeah.
That is a dangerous, dangerous bet.
You know what? You know what's happening? There will be WWDC. Chris will install the beta. There will be new features and reminders.
Yep.
And with a new design, maybe the rounded font is gone. Imagine
maybe they
that.
Maybe they make it easier to add metadata.
Yeah.
If
bunch
they
of
add
AI in there.
If Reminders gets the ability to add deadlines, that was a big thing I was missing, and the ability to attach PDF documents to a task. And technically there is a workaround to attach PDF documents to a reminders task, that you have to take the PDF document from files or mail or whatever and then drag it into reminders and it creates the task. I just don't like doing it that way. I'm like, okay, so the system's there for doing it. It supports it. Just add the button for me to attach a file. There is the ability to add an image, but it doesn't support PDFs. So if Reminders got that, plus the fact that I always do my big, walkthrough, and I like to try and use as much native apps as possible during the summer. So I'm, finding all the little cool stuff that they've added to the native apps. I could see there being a stint of me doing reminders and then maybe going back to Todoist, but I don't know. We'll see. But right now, what is it? May 16th, 2025. I'm really, really happy with Todoist. Like, really happy with it. The only thing, if I could ask them to do something, is just implement basic shortcut actions for the Mac. You don't even have to go wild, but just basic shortcut actions for the Mac.
Okay. All right. I will monitor this closely for the next 6 months. You're on watch, Lolly.
Oh, who watches the Lolly? Matt Birchler, that guy. Okay, so the other app I've been using is BusyCal. My FantastiCal subscription was up at the very end of April. So I was like, well, I don't want to renew it. It's a lot of money. I don't use my calendar that much, especially now since Todoist has support for loading up your Google Calendar. It doesn't have, support for all the features that a standalone calendar app would have. Like, I still need a calendar app, but like I can view my calendar appointments and stuff right in Todoist if need be. So I'm trying BusyCal, and Matt, I believe you brought this to the show a long while ago.
I did.
I think you mentioned it. I don't think it was a topic, but I think you brought it to you just mentioned you were using it.
Yeah, I don't know how much I talked about it, but yeah, I did. Well, I did switch to it after my FantastiCal subscription lapsed, but I'm actually using a different calendar today, but I will not steal the thunder.
Ooh, okay. well, I want to hear. We can get maybe at the end of the topic. Tease the people, make them listen to me, and then they can get the stuff that they want. Matt's calendar app. So BusyCal, I tried BusyCal because I heard you talk about it. I think, was it Jonathan wrote about it for the club? And then I know John was also using it too. And I have never used BusyCal on the Mac. BusyCal on the iPhone and iPad is very different from BusyCal on the Mac. The Mac is you can very clearly tell the Mac is their main focus, and like we'll have an iPhone and iPad app because we have to, kind of thing. It definitely doesn't feel as full featured on the iPhone and or maybe not full featured is the right word, but it doesn't feel as nice as it does on the Mac. What's nice is you can sign into Todoist. So like in Todoist, I can see my calendar appointments. Well, in BusyCal, I can see my task stuff. So I can see like, oh, hey, I need to take care of this thing at 2 p.m. today. Okay, so don't schedule that meeting for 2 p.m. as well. So that's kind of nice. I like that feature. It does have a menu bar calendar app. You guys know how much I love my menu bar apps, and especially menu bar calendar app. I was using Calendar 3662 previously, but I've switched this over. So Hyperkey C opens the BusyCal calendar app right now, which is nice. I like it. I think it's a very good menu bar app. It works very similar to Calendar 366. And what is nice is if you sign into Todoist, your tasks are there too, and all of your tasks are there. So that's a really nice feature. So I can just literally hit Hyperkey C and see everything I need to get done on that day. Really nice feature. It does have support for natural language input. I do not want to use a calendar app that does not have natural language input. Looking at you, Apple Calendars app, yes, I know you sort of have it, but you don't have a very good implementation of it. You need to support more. But I don't like the design. I don't like the design of BusyCal. It feels old. And it doesn't feel as smooth. Do you guys
I don't like
mean?
the icon.
Yeah, the icon I can get past, but like when I'm in the app, it just feels like it kind of feels like a very, I don't even know how to put it. It just feels like an app that like it needs a UI redesign. It feels like it's time for that. So I've been using that and I like it. But man, I'm having a hard time getting past the design of it. So I had a thought literally yesterday, I think it was. I wonder what the free version of FantastiCal is like. I think when FantastiCal went to a subscription model, I just automatically upgraded because I was like, I love this app. I'll upgrade it. At the time it wasn't that much. They've raised their price a couple of times now. Yeah. So I was like, let's see what the free version's like. So far, and literally I've just been using it for 24 hours, so I wouldn't take this as like, it's fine. But the only thing I seem to be missing right now that the free version doesn't support is calendar sets, which is a thing I use specifically for when I'm filming and tied to my filming focus so that it hides my secrets calendar, so that way I don't accidentally leak embargoes and stuff like that. So overall, like I'm like, okay, FantastiCal's working. There is an annoying thing about it that it constantly reminds you it uses the free version, and it's given me a couple of pop-ups of like, well, why don't you upgrade to the paid version? You get all this stuff. And I'm like, I don't want to try the paid version. I want to try the free version for a while. And so for the last day, it's been mostly fine. But I could see me getting to a point where if that pop-up keeps continuing at the same rate, I'm hoping it's just like oh, you just installed it, so we're going to throw it in your face a few times to get you to do it. I'm hoping that pop-up, that rate slows down. If it doesn't, I could see me getting frustrated and deleting it because of that. But I don't feel like the pro features of Fantastical are for me. And I'm just like, I don't need this. Like, I don't need these features. So I'm going to just see if I can get away with the free version of it. But I am kind of running BusyCal and Fantastical side by side right now.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. When I made the switch, I think my feeling was I like Fantastical more, but BusyCal is cheaper.
Yeah.
And close enough.
Especially because it's a part of Setup. Like, if you're already paying for Setup, it's just right there.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastical?
BusyCal.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Is it weird that I've never, ever, ever subscribed to Setup?
Yes,
Me neither.
it is. Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've been like getting some Mac app videos ready, and I'm like, Setup is the way to go because I'm not having to spend, I'm not having to buy a bunch of licenses or sign up for a bunch of different subscriptions. There's so many apps there. Like, there's a 7-day free trial, and when they sponsored me in the past, because disclosure, they have sponsored me in the past, you didn't have to use a credit card. I don't know if that's still the case or not. So you can just download it and check it out for 7 days, browse the library, install whatever apps you want, and just see if it's worth it to you.
I think I just feel better buying things.
Yeah, why do I feel better about that as well? I don't know.
Yeah.
I tend not to buy things on the Mac App Store either. On my Mac, I just kind of like things to be...
I get that. I think for me, it's a, like, I cover a lot of different apps. I'm constantly trying different apps. This is a cheaper way of covering a lot of Mac apps are on there. Like, a lot of big Mac apps are there.
Yeah, maybe I'll check it out. I think technically I have an affiliate link that I just never use on my videos. Okay. So, Chris, you said something that, it made me jealous. Okay. You said, I don't really live in my calendar.
Yeah.
And buddy. So I would like you to guess. I just counted them up. How many meetings do you think I was in this week?
This whole week, okay.
This whole week, last 5 days.
I'm going to say 15.
Niléane, do you have a guess?
25.
The number is 41, my friends.
What? Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I mean, I used to have a day job where I lived out of my calendar. And I think that was literally when Fantastical went to subscription, and I had no problem paying for it because of that.
This is the thing, right? Is like, yes, if you don't care about your calendar that much and it's just to tell you when Eurovision is, for example. I mean, literally before I had like the job like at the company I have now, like my calendar I didn't care at all, right? Like it really was like, oh, it would be nice to put something in there. But yeah, once you live in it, you're like, I will pay anything for just a good experience.
So would you like to take a guess at how many meetings I had this week?
Are you counting this one we're in now?
I say yes. I'm going to count Comfort Zone as a meeting because we schedule it and, there's people and we meet and stuff like that. Okay. We just record it unlike my other meetings.
So these would be meetings with other people, not just like time blocks you've done for yourself.
Yeah. No, they are actual meetings that I've like calls or gone someplace.
3.
4.
Niléane is well. Technically, you both are right.
Perfect.
Niléane's right for meetings. If we count a doctor's appointment, which I don't know if you count a doctor's appointment as a meeting, then Matt would be right. Okay.
No, I wouldn't.
Niléane is right then.
Yes.
Okay. Dang it, I would.
Exactly
why did I say that?
And you know what? That's a busy week for me.
No.
If unless it's iPad or not iPad, Apple product. Briefing week, like those weeks, or even after events and stuff where Apple announces a bunch of products, I'll sometimes have like 3 or 4 different briefings or something like that. Those are probably my busiest meeting weeks. Yeah.
Man.
Want to guess mine? I want to go.
Ooh.
I'm going to say 6.
I'm going to say 10.
What? Okay. Okay, there's only 1 in my calendar.
Oh,
for this
no.
week,
Oh, gosh.
but I'm pretty sure I do not write half of them down usually.
Wait, you don't write your meetings down in your calendar? You just remember them?
Task management and the calendar are all up here.
But
is it on a note?
I only have events. It's not. Yeah, some of them are on my Sidekick notepad in front of me, but I only have calendar events if there's a link that I have to get to click through a Google Meet link. Then I will have an event for sure. Otherwise, if it's a phone call or whatever, I write it down, and usually it's not something I have to do at the precise time. So I will get to it someday, and then I do.
Whenever you talk about like your task or product or calendar system or anything, Niléane, I get massive anxiety for you. Like I don't like I'm like,
love it.
What if she forgets like an important meeting or something like that? Like,
but I will not. Yeah.
I don't know. She's risen to the top. El Presidente.
She's got people for that now. All right.
If something is important, I will just think about it constantly, and it's ruining my life is what.
Oh, that's the other strategy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
I've subscribed to that methodology before.
It's not ideal, but it works.
It works.
All right. Well, that kind of does it for my topic. Just a couple of apps I've been using, and for the most part, pretty happy with them. But I'm kind of curious how this free Fantastical test is going to go. I will follow up next week with that, just because I feel like a solid week with it should be kind of a good test.
This episode of Comfort Zone is brought to you by Inoreader. Inoreader is a powerful RSS reader and content aggregator designed to help you stay ahead and in control of the information you consume online. The new Inoreader Intelligence introduces AI-powered tools that help make it faster and easier to process large volumes of content. With article summaries, you can get quick overviews of articles, explore specific aspects, or ask your own questions, all within Inoreader. You can adjust the style and language of summaries to match your workflow and personal preferences, and once generated, these summaries are saved as fully searchable inside Inoreader, making it easy to revisit key insights later. Intelligence Reports lets you select multiple articles and instantly generate bulk summaries, comparisons, or even sentiment analyses. Each report is saved as a new article, ready to annotate, share, or export, which is ideal for researchers, teams, and professionals working with lots of information. You're also in control of how AI is applied. Use Inoreader's built-in model and intelligence tokens, or connect your own open API key. Save time and boost productivity while staying informed with Inoreader Intelligence. Try Inoreader for free and explore AI-powered article summaries with a Pro, Custom, or Team plan. Intelligence reports are available on the new Team Intelligence plan as an optional add-on for Pro and Custom plans. Learn more and get started at Inoreader.com. And they're not even asking me to talk about this, but I wanted to also mention that they just rolled out a file upload feature that lets you upload PDFs, Word docs, and even Excel files, and it will convert them into articles that you can consume in Inoreader, just like everything else you save to the service. It's really cool and something I wanted to bring up because I've used it a few times since it came out, and I think it's really rad. So thank you to Inoreader for sponsoring Comfort Zone and Mac Stories.
Matt, what do you got for us this week?
Chris. For
yes,
the second week in a row, I bring surprise hardware.
So, a little backstory here. Before you reveal, I was telling Niléane this before we started recording, before you jumped on the call. When I pitched this show idea to Matt, one of the very first things he said to me, he's like, I love it, but I will probably only be bringing free apps every single week. Matt, go ahead and reveal what you bought.
What I have today is a Surface Pro, which is quite the device.
And not a free app.
Not a free app. A financial risk, you might say. But
why did you buy this?
Okay. I knew this was going to be, this was supposed to be a, Matt brings a cool thing and we have a fun conversation about it, but this obviously was going to turn into a defend yourself sort of
Oh,
segment.
yeah. This is comfort zone. What?
So here's the reason that I got this. This is an iPad Pro 11-inch, a great size. I think, Chris, you agree now.
I do agree now.
Okay, so here's what happened. I was going to go on a trip the last weekend of May. I was going to fly somewhere for a weekend and then come back, as you typically do with trips. That trip was delayed, so I'm not doing it yet. I'm doing it in June now. But I was starting to like get ready to pack up everything, and I want to be someone who travels with their iPad. I wish that I could just throw this in my bag because it's much smaller than my Mac. It has touchscreen support, which is really nice for using in different environments. Really easy on a like a plane, for example. So you don't have to have the whole keyboard sticking out, but you can still use your bigger screen than your phone. I want to bring it along with me, but I always bring my MacBook anyway because it has all the things I want to do. For example, I take a lot of photos when I'm on trips, especially if they're personal trips. I take them on my camera. They're on my SD card. I throw the SD card into the Mac, or I can use the dongle. No big deal. It works on the iPad too. Put them in the Lightroom, and oh no, there were some really low light photos I took that are pretty noisy, and I'd sure like to denoise them. Well, that's a Mac only feature. So Lightroom has 90% of the things, but there's a little 10% here and there that they just don't have. It is also on Windows. Stuff like that. There are things that come up. There is Final Cut Pro, but it's not the Final Cut Pro that I use and does all the things I want. There's DaVinci Resolve, and while that's kind of oddly close to the desktop one, especially if there's like a weird hack you can do to like expose more of the interface, it's a very strange app. It's not quite there either. Obsidian, there are some limitations with some plugins, like my plugin, for example, that I use to publish to my site doesn't work on iOS and iPadOS. I need to figure this out. I need to fix it, but it works on Windows and Mac. So anyway, there's all these little things that just come up and the iPad doesn't do it for me. And so what I wanted was a touch-based tablet that did all the things.
Mm-hmm.
And a Surface did that for me. And so I was just packing up and I was just like, I'm going to bring the Mac again. I want to use my tablet. And yeah, a Windows laptop is, we'll get into some of the limitations. It's not ideal in every way, but it does do everything that I need.
I am so confused why you just don't bring your Mac instead. Like, what? I'm very, very, very confused.
He wants touch.
I do want touch.
But is touch really, you need touch so much you're going to buy another device on another platform?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right.
There you go.
Okay.
I'm backing up I have been saying a touch is an important feature and every platform should have it for years. And this is me putting my money where my mouth is. I will pay for this feature.
Okay.
So that was the why. It was like travel and just like throughout the day. But the second thing that really got me was I sometimes go weeks without using my iPad. Weeks. Because it's almost never the right tool for me. If I'm doing something on the couch while we're just relaxing, my phone is great. I do everything on my phone. I do social media on my phone. I don't even have like Ivory installed on my iPad. Like I do, like it's all on my phone. If I'm doing anything more, I'm grabbing the Mac. So like, I feel like the iPad is this incredibly wonderful tool that I just don't use very often. Or like I have to think to use it. And so, yeah, it's like in this weird middle ground where like it isn't solving any of the needs that I have right now. This is my disclaimer where if it solves your needs, that's incredible and lovely. And I totally believe you that it does. This is just my experience. So I got the Surface. They have a 60-day return window, which is awesome.
Oh, that's
so
fantastic.
I have plenty of time to change my mind if this goes south somehow. But I think even if it does go south, I would probably just trade this in for like one of their cheaper ones because I do like having it.
I have an idea for you, but do your pitch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the pitch is, this is a full computer. It does everything. What do you want to do? Can you do it on Windows? Then you can do it on this. It's great. It's lovely.
I don't know. I hear Mac gaming is getting really, really good.
Oh boy. Well, listen, gaming on this is not good. Gaming on this is rough. It's very rough. I can play Balatro on it, and 2D games play pretty good. But yeah.
Minecraft, probably.
You could probably do Minecraft. The issue, and this is maybe a thing to get into, is this is an ARM-based processor. This is the Snapdragon X, and I have the Plus, not the Elite. So save some money there. But
that's good, right?
From what I've heard, actually, the performance is basically the same between them in most things you do. So Windows has emulation now, so similar to the Rosetta thing that Mac OS does, where Intel apps will still run, and like often you can't even tell because like they just work fine. You can tell on Windows.
Oh, no.
You can definitely tell. Everything runs, but as soon as an app does anything more than just like render text, you start to run into issues. So, for example, I have one benchmark that I recorded for this that I have linked in the our internal notes. And it was basically taking a 3-minute recording I made of myself playing Doom of the Dark Ages, which is an awesome game, highly recommended.
Oh, I'm so excited to get into that.
And I took that 3-minute 4K 60 FPS clip, I put it in DaVinci Resolve, and I just exported it. No crazy effects or anything, just export this video into an H.264 video. And I did it across my MacBook Pro, my work M1 MacBook Pro, the iPad Pro with an M4, and this. And long story short, this is half as quick as exporting video. For example, this is using the ARM version of DaVinci Resolve, which DaVinci has helpfully created. And then, Chris, this will resonate with you. When you're editing a video, you probably want the like scrubber to be smooth, and you want to be able to play back in real time, right? 4K 60 even, that should play back in real time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So that works great on the ARM version. I didn't realize they had an ARM version at first, so I installed the Intel version that had to be emulated. In that case, when I hit play just in the timeline, it played back at 3 FPS.
Ouch.
So
that's like the old school days of Final Cut when you had to use proxies because you had spinning hard drives and stuff like that.
Yeah. And this file was in the downloads folder. It was just right there. Rough. So there's a massive performance difference. I haven't done like serious testing on this, but yeah. In terms of performance, I've seen Microsoft said like they outperform the M2 the M3 MacBook Air.
So
in some tests.
So this is the Surface that Microsoft is currently advertising that's faster than Apple's Macs.
This is the latest Surface Pro using the not highest end processor. So there's the Elite. I'm using the Plus.
Did you see? I think it was the other. Like it was just like a couple of days ago that it came out. But they're like doing a whole ad campaign about how this is faster than the Mac.
They are
now.
And so I saw that, and that's kind of what made me run this test, because just using it doesn't feel faster than...
Well, because Safari's snappy now.
Yeah, it doesn't feel faster. It doesn't feel slow. Like, it is very functional. Totally gets the job done in a way that it didn't a couple years ago when I tried, like... I looked back in 2018 was the last time I bought a Surface, and I returned that one because it was very not performant. It's better than that, but at no point am I like, wow, this is as fast as Apple Silicon. And yeah, even my M1 Mac feels faster, at least. But again, I'm not doing synthetic benchmarks or anything. I'm just like using it like a human, which I hope people will allow.
When I saw that ad campaign, I immediately thought they are cherry picking some very specific benchmark that, of course, is going to be better on Windows than Mac. Yeah,
it's like a Cinebench benchmark or something. I forget, but I would say this is fast enough, but it's not like the magic you felt the first time you used an Apple Silicon Mac, and you're like, oh, this is fine.
Yeah,
this is like I have zero complaints about this performance. So, I don't want to go on too much about it, but there is a Surface Pen. I have the Surface Pen. It is not as good as the Apple Pencil. It's cheaper. It's like a more hollow plastic. I actually got myself into a bit of a sticky situation with it because it only charges through the keyboard case.
Okay.
Which is strange. So like I had the Surface and then I had the pen and I was like, I'll just use these two. I won't get a keyboard yet. And then they're like, you can't charge this unless you have the keyboard.
So you have to buy another accessory in order to use that's wild.
It's very strange. They have an older pencil you can get that is, or a pen that you can get that is powered by a single AAA battery. And I think that's fine, but it lacks some of the newer features.
It's sold separately. So if you only have the pencil, you cannot charge it?
Yes, it's very strange. They do have a bundle where they sell it with the keyboard, but like it's not clear and not obvious that the tablet can't charge it and there's no USB-C port.
Sounds like something Apple would do.
I mean, at least for the Apple Pencil, like you can just buy an iPad and an Apple Pencil and it just connects magnetically. Like great, or you get the USB-C version.
Yeah,
but
and to be clear, Apple does this better. As they do with macOS, like their Macs are better than macOS is better than Windows in look and feel and like pretty much every aspect that is important to me. Using a Mac feels better than using Windows, except for gaming.
No, especially gaming.
But yeah, so the Surface Pen is close, but not as good. The keyboard is nice. I have the Alcantara one, which is it's kind of the complete opposite of the Magic Keyboard's new metal surface, which is nice in a different way, but it is harder to use on a lap, which is never the case I'm using it, so that's not really an issue for me, but like because the kickstand goes out. Oh, guys. We got to get a kickstand on the iPad. This is awesome. I know some people really hate kickstands. It is so awesome. It's so awesome.
No means no, Matt.
What if I could stand up my iPad without spending $350 on a keyboard? It's just an idea.
I hate So here's my issue with the kickstands.
Yes. Explain.
They have the kickstand keyboard case for the base iPad, where it's the keyboard is just flops up against the screen, and then you have a kickstand all the way out. When you have that thing fully set up, that is long, and you know what it doesn't fit on? Airplane tray tables, small desks. Like, it doesn't fit places. Like, I don't like kickstands. I like the idea of, like, being able to just use the kickstand, but the, like, cantilever hinge of the Magic Keyboard and iPad is way more compact, and it fits a lot better on an airplane tray table.
Here's what I will say. So, this is where we fight. This is where the bickering begins. So
I like it.
Absolutely. The iPad with a Magic Keyboard takes up less depth than this with a keyboard, and then I can't even show it here, but like the keyboard on the end and then the kickstand that goes out. That is not how you have to do it, though. That's how Microsoft has done it. But like, this isn't connected at the bottom of the screen, right? There's magnets at the top that are locking it in. All of that is available on the Surface. The kickstand is only taking up like the bottom half of it. So you could still have this like magnetic mount with magnets kind of around the edges. And so you could put it into the same style of keyboard. But if you don't have the keyboard with you, you can use this very narrow little thing that goes all the way back. So you could do it as like an easel, and you don't need the keyboard. So I think that Microsoft's implementation is not great, because 100% it is so much depth when you have it all pulled out. The iPad is definitely better for that, especially for laptop mode or using it in your lap or like on an airplane tray. But like, I like the flexibility this gives me to stand it up without the keyboard, because I'm often using it without a keyboard. And so with the iPad, I need to like, it is shocking how often I'm using my iPad Magic Keyboard just as a stand, which is silly. It would be nice just to have it standing on its own.
I like this. I like this. I would approve of this. Would Apple do it? I don't think so, but I would, because that would take away the smart folio cover, and we know how much Apple loves selling their accessories.
Yeah, I think it would be good. Yeah, I don't know. This is definitely a thicker device as well. It makes you appreciate like how thin the new iPads are. The last thing I will say on this topic, unless you guys want to grill me some more, but like,
I just have an idea for you.
Okay. The big thing I want to say is that even though I'm ironically in a way, by leaving the Apple ecosystem for my touch-based device and going to Windows, I have fewer app compatibility issues than I have on the iPad. Because the apps are generally there, actually. Like, I don't have things, but like, well, I'm looking at my dock right now. There's no Mime Stream, but like every other app that I use on a daily basis is here.
So there's no email and no task manager, like the two things that I would probably need the most on something like that.
Yeah, I mean the apps do exist, so like if you use a different one, it would be fine. But like, yeah, like those are the although Todoist is there, so you would be okay right now.
And I mean, email client, you can just log into any email client.
Yeah. So I just think it's interesting that like, because there aren't the because I feel with iPad apps, even if the app is there, it's usually like 80 to 90% of the functionality. And if you're in that window, you're golden. But if you're not, then you're frustrated. I mentioned the Lightroom thing earlier. It's so close, and it's so great for the things that are there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that 10%. And with this, there's a few apps that aren't there for sure, but like, I'm using Obsidian with no restrictions. I'm using DaVinci with no restrictions. I'm using every app just is the full version of it. I'm using Zen. I can use Zen on my tablet now. Mwah. I love that browser. It's great, right? And so it was an interesting thing that like I feel less restricted in terms of apps, even though I've left Apple's ecosystem entirely, which is not something that I was expecting. I was expecting there to be more limitations. And I think that was a limitation like 7 years ago when I tried this, and it's less of an issue today. Maybe it's because the web and like web apps and Electron apps have proliferated so much that
yeah.
That's
wild, that to get a better tablet experience to work with your workflow, instead of getting an iPad, you went with a Surface, and it actually works better. It
is a worse tablet experience. If you are using it as a tablet, and like that's the thing you like, and you like the swooping animations and stuff, it's not as good. It is a desktop computer through and through with a lot of affordances for touch. Like, it works great. Like, again, I want to scream whenever people are like, it can't work on the Mac. The touch targets are too small. If you're following accessibility guidelines, they are fine. But anyway, it is not as good if you just want it for that casual, like swiping around and swooping from app to app and stuff. But like, if functionality is more important to you than smooth animations, and you want to be able to maintain things, like there's more stuff to manage here. It's a Windows computer, but like, yeah, it depends on what you want, but it's definitely a desktop operating system. I don't want people to think like I think it's as smooth or as tablet-y as an iPad. iPads are definitely more chill tablets.
Okay, so here's my idea for you. I have seen, because I'm still going on Reddit on some bad days, and I'm still subscribed to the Hackintosh subreddit, and I often see people using macOS on Surface Pros. Right now, I'm not sure. There might be older Surface Pros.
Okay.
But you could look into it. Maybe you could
That's
install
interesting.
macOS on this.
That's interesting. Honestly, that'd be great.
Yeah. I think it could be fun.
Oh, there's no virtual keyboard, though, on the Mac.
Is there not?
I don't think so. Yeah, Windows does a very good job, actually, of just like, you just like on the iPad, like you tap into a text field with no keyboard attached, it brings up an on-screen keyboard. That's way better than the last one I used. And then you plug in a keyboard, the screen one goes away.
You're right that on macOS there's only the accessibility visual keyboard,
but
which is probably not great.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the dream is I can throw this in the trash by reselling it to someone, ideally.
Okay.
But like I can get rid of this. I do not want this product, but it solves needs that I have in ways that Apple just doesn't make a device for me right now. Like if this was running macOS, this would be my only computer. I'd have one computer. It would be great. I'd be so happy. I'd be a happy boy.
Interesting. Well, I mean, maybe WWDC will change everything, you know? Just like I say every year, this is the year the iPad's they're going to fix everything about the iPad, you know? I've said it every year for the past, decade?
This is the one.
This is the one. This is the one. This is going to be it. I'll believe it when I see it. All right. You guys ready to move on to the challenge?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
All right. Niléane, it was your challenge, and I believe every single one of us, including you, cursed your name this week. What'd you have us do?
I have regrets. So the challenge was get rid of your dock, which I meant on the Mac. Get rid of your dock on the Mac. Try to find something to replace it, or I guess it didn't say, so you could have gone the route of just trying to hide it and not replace it with anything and see how it goes. And for that, I suggested that we use a new feature in Supercharge, which lets you disable that thing where if you move your mouse cursor to the edge of the screen, the dock will bounce back on screen, and Supercharge lets you disable that. So you have no ways to bring back the dock even accidentally. Okay. So can I go first?
Please.
Absolutely.
Yes. So first, like I said, I hate myself, but so I tried it. I still tried it. I've installed so many obscure apps over the past few days, like typing on Google dock replacements macOS, and you find some wild things, and most of them are very old, like apps that are no longer supported by modern macOS. And most of them are really ugly, but so it's hard. The first thing I installed, and maybe one of you went with this one, is called Switch Class. This is by who? Which of the ATP boys made this?
I think it's John, right?
John Siracusa? Let me check quickly. I did not write it down. Yes, John Siracusa made this. It's in the App Store, in the Mac App Store. And Switch Glass it's a macOS dock replacement. And I believe he said one time that he uses it alongside the native dock. So he uses both. And what Switch Glass does is it shows you you're currently running apps. And just that. Just you're currently running apps. And you can pin apps to the Switch Glass dock. And by that, it means that you can pin in which order they go. But if you quit the app, then it will still disappear from Switch Glass. And if you launch it again, it will reappear, but in the same spot. That's what pinning means with Switch Glass. So it's always very minimal. Like it's always very small as a result, because there's not a lot of icons at the same time on there. And it has a bunch of appearance features. One neat thing is that you can put it in a corner. So instead of in the middle of the left edge or in the middle of the right edge or at the bottom, centered at the bottom of your screen, you can have it in a literal corner, like bottom right, bottom left, top right, etc. That's really nice. But this was can't talk. This was not weird enough, so I moved on from it. This was too easy, I found. Because it works really well. Like, this is really nice dock replacement. If you want a minimal dock, I think Switch Glass is pretty good. So I moved on and I installed the most painful one that I found, and it's called U-Bar. And U-Bar is something to replace your dock with. And what it does is it looks at you in the eyes and it asks you, do you miss the Windows Vista taskbar?
Oh, jeez.
I will give it back to you.
Oh.
This is what it does.
Why?
Yes. So I have two screenshots attached in our show notes if you want to click them. And you can see my desk set up with it. What it looks like. So to be fair to this app, it has a lot of settings, like too many settings. So I have it set to where it really looks like a Windows Vista taskbar, where the labels are shown and every single window has its own item in the taskbar, which means the taskbar is the full length of the display and is filled with items. You can display the clock, the trash can at the bottom right, since I learned this week that the trash can you can not access easily if you don't have a dock. So it's good if your replacement has a way to add the trash can back. But yeah, it has settings so you can still group apps together, like on Windows 7 and onward, and hide labels. Likewise, like on Windows 7 and onward. You can make it look like a dock, but that's really ugly. I hated that. Clearly this app was meant to replicate the Windows taskbar, not to replace the dock as a dock. It even has a start menu kind of thing.
Kind of.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, yeah, like old school start menu where it shows you your recently used apps and a full list of your apps installed. This is weird, and to be fair, I've not used it all week. But there's one thing which is nice is it makes it very easy to switch between windows. Like that's very clear. Like you have a very good idea of how many windows you have open right now. And if you have multiple windows of the same app, that's really easy to switch between them. For example, I always have multiple Safari windows open. And usually I swipe down with 3 fingers with mission control to switch between windows of the same app. But this is just like Windows Vista. So you have multiple items in the taskbar, so you can see it easily. So this is my pick. I went with Switchgrass at first. That was too easy. That was too nice. So I moved on to U-Bar. And now I'm very happy that the day today has come so I can go back to the good macOS dock. And I wonder now, how did you guys do with this challenge?
Well, I think it makes a lot of sense for me to go next because I too used U-Bar all week, although I used it exclusively. And I would never want the macOS dock to ever go away now. I really appreciate it now. Like you, I tried out a bunch of apps. I'm sure we all just Googled the same thing afterwards. Yes. After last week's episode. Oh, Chris is making a face. Maybe not. But I have given full system access to like 3 different apps this week. It's great. I will just click.
Your social security number is compromised, credit card information.
Yes. Absolutely.
It's all compromised.
I did uninstall the apps right afterwards. And no disrespect to U-Bar, but I'm going to uninstall it after this as well.
Yep.
I thought U-Bar was, of the ones I looked at, far and away the best. I actually like the idea that the dock thing is the full width of the page. Like that one thing that I find a little weird about the macOS dock is that there's like this little empty space at the top and bottom or right and left, depending on where you have it. That's like useless. Like, I don't know if you use that for anything. I don't, but like it's just empty space. So I kind of like the idea of like a solid menu bar at the top, a solid thing on the side, and that's it.
So you had it on the side.
So I tried putting it on the bottom.
Okay.
I'm a left dock person. the best type of dock person.
Yeah, left side, best side.
So we finally agree on something. So I tried putting it at the bottom because I was like, oh, maybe this will be the Windows experience. And I'm high on the Windows experience right now. So I gave that a shot. It completely broke my muscle memory. I was like not used to looking down there for open apps. I'm used to look down the left. So I eventually did put it on the left side. And I think it looks nice. I have a theme I have the light theme. I think it matches my system or whatever, but like it looks different than the menu bar, which is slightly annoying. I couldn't figure out, maybe there's a way. I couldn't figure out a way to put apps there to just stick there. It only shows open apps as far as I can tell.
You can do that by, they have a favorite. It's literally Windows Vista. They have a favorite section.
I see it now.
That's separate from the running apps.
Okay. Well, I should have, if I'd noticed that would have made it a little nicer.
Yours looks nice compared to my setup.
So I did not have it show. I had it momentarily show the full like name of the thing, and I was like, oh, this is so stupid. This is why I never did that, and I shrunk it down to just say show the icons. The thing that's tricky about it is macOS has some like window management stuff that knows where the dock is and plays nicely. So they added that thing where you can like drag it to the top or left or right or whatever, and it'll automatically resize. And the thing I love about that is that if you like have your dock like hidden and then you show it, the windows will automatically adjust to like make room for the new spacing, which is honestly a very nice feature. They've done a very good job there. But macOS has no idea where U-bar is, and so those features don't really work. Since mine was on the left, if I would make a window full screen, like it would just go slightly under U-bar. So not perfect. I could get around that. That's fine. It does have a trash icon that will empty the trash for you. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Okay.
You have to give it some other permission. This app can do anything on my machine right now. It can do absolutely anything. But yeah, I kind of like it, but like I couldn't figure out, maybe there's a way. I couldn't figure out how to put like folders in here. It made me realize how often I use my downloads folder to like just click that. I just downloaded a file.
Yeah.
I don't know how it does this weird thing where like after a download finishes, I'll get like a system notification from U-bar that says a download is complete, which is kind of like a notification to like go to your downloads folder. But then
it has full disk access.
It knows everything I'm doing. But then I had to open a Finder window, go to downloads, and it's like it. Yeah, I'm going back to the dock. I love the dock. I think it's great, and I appreciate it even more now. So I'm glad these exist. I'm sure there's people who love them, especially like if you're somebody who uses Supercharge because you want your Mac to do all these Windows things. You probably like that there's a more Windowsy solution here if that's what you like. Although, why did you switch if you just want your Mac? Anyway. Yeah. I think this was the best one of the ones I saw. The other ones looked too aesthetically unpleasing for me to use for any amount of time.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Switch glass though. I think this is the like very nice surprise for me.
It looks like just the dock.
It looks really good, yes. Yeah. All right, Chris.
So I did something a little different than you guys, but just like you guys, I was so excited when this morning came. I didn't even wait for us to finish recording the episode. Like this morning came, I'm like, yep, you're going away. Doc, come back. So instead of Google searching, I actually used the ChatGPT deep research feature. And I was like, give me some macOS dock alternatives. And it actually came back and was like requesting like what features am I looking for and stuff like that. It was really interesting. U-bar was one of the ones I checked out, but I actually went with an app called Sidebar. I'd never heard of this app before. It's an extremely customizable dock replacement. There's a ton of features. Like I can't go into all of them. Like we don't have time. But a couple that I really like you can hover over an app icon and it'll show a preview of like all the windows and stuff. Like instead of like in the macOS dock, it'll just show the name of the application. This one will show you all. Like if you have like 3 Safari windows open, it'll show you a preview of all 3 Safari windows, which I thought was nice. You can limit applications that are in the dock to the active space you're in. So like right now, for example, I have Obsidian and Edge and Messages open. So those would be the only applications in the dock. If you want that, that's you can do that. That way, like, you're not distracting yourself with other stuff. If you have like 2 or more windows open, and like say you have like 2 Safari windows open of the same app, and you click Safari in the dock, instead of like going to your most recent one that you used, it'll actually like have like a little pop-up or like a little thing that kind of comes out of the dock and be like, which window do you want? And you can just click that. Hands down my favorite feature about this.
Windows Vista.
You can create, what's that?
That's Windows Vista. Windows 7 maybe.
Yeah, but
Vista had some good ideas.
Yeah.
Let's not put words in my mouth. You can create stacks of applications. So like I created a stack of like my creative apps and put Final Cut, Photoshop, and Lightroom together and stuff like that. Honestly, that just felt like an extra click. But this app is kind of limited where like you could just keep adding stuff to the Mac OS dock and it'll keep adjusting size dynamically. This one, like once you get to a certain point, like you've added so many things, it just goes like, nope, can't show anything more. And like you get this little bar that you can click and like you go out and like get the apps that it just can't visually show anymore. You can do things like add volume controls to the dock, which I wasn't entirely sure why you would want to. Like macOS has volume controls all over the place, including the keyboard shortcuts, but it's there if you want it. Command G brings up a list of like all of your apps, kind of like the old school start menu. Brings up a list of all your apps. There's shortcuts for terminal, activity monitor, system preferences, and power options like turning off or restarting your computer. Plus, there is a search feature, so you can just hit Command G and then just start typing for an app if you want. You can pin apps to be You can use this feature to pin apps to a specific screen if you're using multiple monitors. So like say I always wanted Safari to open on the laptop monitor and not the studio display, I could do that if I wanted to for some reason. It has customizable themes. You could add folders, like you can add folders of files to it. So I added my documents folder, I added my downloads folder so I could have that. But ultimately, like it's a very finicky app. And I'm glad it's going to get uninstalled as soon as we hang up this call. And the dock is back already. And what really won out for me was Raycast. Because instead of using the dock to switch apps or jump to apps, I was just hitting command space and typing app names. Like I was just like, I just don't even want to deal with that. So Raycast is what really won for me. Just like as like this is faster, this is more reliable, everything's here kind of thing. But Sidebar was an interesting app to try, but I think the more interesting feature the more interesting like note of this was the ChatGPT Deep Research feature was very good at getting me a whole host of different options to go through, and this was just happened to be the one that I liked the most.
Yeah, I saw this one and I did try it like for 10 minutes because it was overwhelming. There's so many features.
There's a ton of settings. I think I probably spent at least a half hour, probably more, just configuring it.
Oh yeah, that can be fun. I mean, that's part of the joy of these sometimes. It's just tweaking.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, that is Sidebar. Anything else on this challenge, or should we find out what Matt is going to have us do?
I wonder what's Matt's revenge.
Yeah, Matt.
You guys aren't even prepared. This is going to be so tough, so cruel.
It mustn't prevent me from watching Eurovision, is all I ask.
Unplug your TV. Unplug your internet router.
My challenge is find a really cool media tracking app and identify your favorite little thing about it.
Does this have to be a new media tracking app?
No.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be. But I'm really looking for like niche little things. Like what's a little detail that you really love about whatever this media tracker is.
Okay. I like that. I like it.
Okay,
Interesting.
okay,
I have a couple
okay.
ideas already. All right. Well, that just about brings us to the end of the show. But I want to remind you all, we have a feedback form now. We want to hear from you all. If you're doing the challenge alongside us, we want to hear your results. If you want to answer the end of the show question, we want to hear from you. The feedback form is in the show notes of the podcast, or the description of the podcast, or the description of the YouTube video. It's there with all the other links and stuff like that. So be sure to send us a message. Just be nice. But I have an end of the show question for the two of you, and I'm very excited about this question. If you could be any car, what car would you be?
If I could be a car?
Yeah, if you could be a car, any car, what car would you be?
I know.
Niléane, what do you got?
Obviously, we've talked about it. The Citroën Ami, which is a really tiny car. A tiny electric car that's very popular in France and Germany currently. It's got barely 2 seats, and it's very very lightweight, and it even qualifies as a quadricycle legally, so you can drive it without a driving license, which is why it has been very popular among the youth. And you can park it anywhere. It's amazing, and it's very cute. So anyone should pick this car.
Okay.
And I am this car.
Yeah.
Chris, I'll save you. I would be a Fiat 500e.
Oh, Jesus. At least pick an American car.
No, man.
I'm Googling it. What is it?
My dream is to own a Fiat when I retire.
Oh, this is cute.
I want a teeny tiny car that I can just like putter around in. I can park anywhere. I can like slide underneath whatever car Chris is driving, Fast and the Furious style.
So you agree with my pick?
I actually love your pick. Yes.
There you go. Okay.
I knew this question would raise my blood pressure a little bit.
What do you want to be? What small sedan do you want to be?
Before I say mine, you know what kills me in my relationship? I love my girlfriend. She is the most important person in the world to me.
Where is this
car is a Mini Cooper. Yeah,
this
person,
nice.
not yeah.
Okay, I was gonna say, I thought you were leaning into she's my favorite person, but my favorite anything, obviously my car.
Okay, so if I could be any car, I would be a 1967 Mustang Eleanor. That is the most beautiful car ever made. I will not be taking questions, but I will take questions if you have any. But
I'm Googling it. 1967.
Mustang Eleanor. Make sure you get the Eleanor in there.
Eleanor,
that's an important part.
Okay.
Well, this looks angry, Chris.
Yeah.
I want my car to look cute and friendly. That's one looks
pure
angry.
American muscle right there. That is that car. Whew. The other version is maybe the Bullet Mustang, but yeah, that one. But Eleanor, I think, is the one I would go for.
Do you want the stripes?
Oh yeah, you gotta have the stripes.
Oh,
Absolutely,
sorry. Okay.
You gotta have the stripes.
Could they be like
obviously.
zigzag yellow stripes like lightning?
No. By the way, okay, quick. I know we gotta go, but quick side note: my great grandmother, who was this, I don't even know if she ever reached 5 feet tall. Very older woman. She used to drive a Pontiac Firebird, and it had the whole Firebird on the hood. Niléane, you might have to look this up. Matt knows exactly what I'm talking about. Every American knows exactly what I'm talking about. But as a Pontiac Firebird, it had the Firebird on the hood. That was my great-grandmother. That is the kind of people that I have grown up with. That is why I'm a 1967 Mustang Eleanor. Anyways, that's the end of the show. Thank you all so much for listening. Matt, Niléane, say goodbye. If you have anything to pitch, now's the time.
I would like to take another 10 minutes to pitch the Surface Pro as a useful device for more people.
Nope, gotta go. Nope.
Yep. Bye-bye. I'm done too. Bye.
All right. Talk to you later. Thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day.